Bruno Guimarães' £75 million move to Arsenal could reshape the title race. Maduka Okoye brings high fashion to Udinese. City's attack beats Atlético Madrid 3-1, and 11 clubs have new bosses. Now, Bruno Guimarães reshapes Arsenal's midfield. We start with the one headline that's actually crossed the line from noise into reality. Bruno Guimarães completes £75 million move to Arsenal. I needed a new challenge. This is a major Premier League power shift, because Arsenal have added a midfielder who can change the balance of their team. The £75 million fee brings pressure, but Guimarães' versatility gives Mikel Arteta options across the deepest part of the pitch. His own explanation matters too. He said he needed a new challenge, and Newcastle United have now lost a central figure. Bruno Guimarães has completed a reported £75 million move from Newcastle United to Arsenal. That's the confirmed reality anchoring this episode, and it's a very different story from another bid being floated or another negotiation being recycled for clicks. Guimarães has joined Arsenal, and Arsenal have made one of the clearest statements of the window. The tactical question is where he sits in the midfield hierarchy. Guimarães can give Arsenal control with the ball, defensive bite without it, and the flexibility to operate in more than one role. That matters for a side trying to push through a long Premier League season, because the title race usually punishes teams that need one player to solve every problem. Arsenal supporters are already asking whether his versatility makes the midfield title ready. That's a fair question, though the fee means patience will be in short supply. At £75 million, every quiet performance becomes a debate, every tactical change becomes a verdict, and every important match will invite comparisons with the player Newcastle United have just lost. Guimarães said he needed a new challenge. Arsenal have given him one with enormous expectations attached. The move raises Arsenal's floor in midfield, but it also changes the pressure around Arteta's selection choices. Bruno Guimarães changes Arsenal's midfield hierarchy, and the £75 million move gives Mikel Arteta a new midfield reference point for the title push. Arsenal had made the loud move. Now a quieter story gives us the person behind the gloves. Maduka Okoye on high fashion and life at Udinese. Maduka Okoye's story works because it connects elite goalkeeping with the personality football coverage often flattens. His interest in high fashion adds color, but his current life at Udinese and his Nigeria career remain the football substance. The useful reminder is simple. A player can be serious about performance without living inside the usual football stereotype. Maduka Okoye is Udinese and Nigeria's goalkeeper, and his conversation about high fashion offers a different route into a player profile. The fashion angle is unusual, which is exactly why it risks becoming the whole story if nobody keeps the football in view. Okoye discusses his life at Udinese and lessons from the World Cup, while supporters have responded positively to the crossover between football and fashion. That doesn't make this a transfer story. He's an Udinese goalkeeper with an identity beyond the standard interview script. There's something refreshing about that. Footballers are often presented as if every interest must be converted into a brand or a motivational quote. Okoye's story is more grounded. He's building a career in goal, representing Nigeria, and carrying an interest that happens to exist outside the penalty area. The gloves still come first. And Manchester City have given their attacking options an early audition. Marmoush double and Semenyo performance helped Man City beat Atlético 3-1. Manchester City's 3-1 friendly win over Atlético Madrid showed attacking depth, but preseason still comes with a warning label. Omar Marmoush scored twice while Antoine Semenyo twice set him up, giving City a glimpse of a useful combination. The result can shape selection debates and transfer priorities, but it can't confirm a final starting 11 before competitive football begins. Manchester City beat Atlético Madrid 3-1 in Seoul, with Omar Marmoush scoring twice and Antoine Semenyo twice setting him up. That's a neat attacking headline, and the connection between the two players will interest Pep Guardiola's staff because it suggests direct production rather than decorative possession. Semenyo's contribution matters as much as Marmoush's finishing. Creating both goals gives him a clear argument in a crowded attacking group, especially when City are deciding which profiles can stretch a defense and which players can combine around the box. Competition is healthy. It's also how supporters start selecting the team before the manager has finished testing it. Still, this was a friendly. City fans can enjoy the performance without treating it as a title forecast. A preseason goal doesn't guarantee a starting place in September, and Atlético Madrid won't be judged by this score alone. The real consequence is internal. City have more attacking questions to solve, and that can affect who stays, who starts, and whether the club still wants another option. City's answer is colder. Selection pressure starts before the league table exists. Record Premier League managerial turnover leaves 11 clubs with new bosses. 11 Premier League clubs begin 2026-27 with managers who've been in post for less than a year. 9 clubs change managers between seasons, and the median tenure has never been lower at the start of a Premier League campaign. That level of turnover can push recruitment towards short-term fixes, because new managers rarely get unlimited patience while their squads are still being assembled. 11 Premier League clubs start 2026-27 with managers who've been in charge for under a year. 9 of the 20 clubs have a different manager from the one who finished the previous campaign, and the median managerial tenure has never been lower at the start of a Premier League season. That changes the transfer market. A new manager may arrive with a tactical idea, discover that the squad can't execute it, and then ask the board for players who fit the system before the first serious run of fixtures. Clubs can call that planning. Fans usually call it panic with a spreadsheet. The pressure also affects the players already inside those squads. A footballer recruited for one coach may become surplus to requirements under the next, while a late signing can be asked to rescue a structure that hasn't settled. 11 clubs are beginning with limited managerial security, and that makes the final stages of the window more volatile for everyone involved. The managers are under pressure. The betting market has its own confident answer. Polymarket users bet big on one team to win the Premier League. Which club is favored in 2026-27? Diario AS. The Diario AS headline reports that Polymarket users are betting heavily on one team to win the Premier League. That market can reveal where money and public confidence are gathering, but it isn't a sporting prediction with guaranteed insight. A favorite on a betting platform can move because of sentiment, news, or trading activity, which makes the label useful as a temperature check rather than a verdict. Diario AS reports that Polymarket users are betting big on one team to win the Premier League in 2026-27. The supplied report identifies the market story, but it doesn't provide enough verified detail here to name the favorite responsibly. That distinction matters, especially when a betting headline invites everyone to repeat the club name before checking the evidence. Prediction markets can be entertaining because they turn confidence into a visible number. They can also make a fashionable opinion look like a settled football fact. A heavy position tells us what users are backing at that moment. It doesn't tell us who will handle injuries, fixture congestion, or a manager losing patience with his own tactics. So treat the market as a signal of expectation, not proof of superiority. After Arsenal's confirmed midfield move and Manchester City's attacking performance, the title conversation is already full of momentum. Polymarket adds money to that conversation, but money still can't defend a corner. Arsenal's Guimarães deal is real. This next Arsenal story isn't at that level. Arsenal back to complete shock Man United signing that makes perfect sense, Football 365. Football 365 reports that Arsenal are back to complete a shock signing involving a Manchester United player. The headline offers a strong fit argument, but the package names neither the player nor a confirmed agreement. That makes this a possibility to monitor, not a transfer to present as imminent simply because the logic sounds tidy. Football 365 has published a report backing Arsenal to complete a shock Manchester United signing, with the headline arguing that the move makes perfect sense. That wording tells you what kind of story this is. A transfer possibility built around fit and plausibility rather than a confirmed deal. The missing detail is crucial. The package doesn't identify the player, and it doesn't provide a confirmed fee, agreement, or timetable. Without those facts, the story can't be treated like the Guimarães move. Arsenal have completed one major midfield transfer. That doesn't automatically make every Manchester United link part of the same master plan. Could the logic still be interesting? Yes. Rival transfers become irresistible because they carry an extra layer of theater, and Arsenal versus Manchester United supplies plenty of it. But a headline can make a move sound inevitable long before a club has decided it wants the player. For now, the consequence is conversation, not a new Arsenal squad member. But the transfer noise gives way to football's bigger power struggle. FIFA defends Gianni Infantino and launches attack after effort to undermine president. FIFA has defended Gianni Infantino as a democratically elected president and accused some figures of a concerted effort to undermine him. The statement reportedly contains a thinly veiled attack aimed at FIFA and other leading figures in European football. This is institutional conflict, not transfer gossip, and the language shows how aggressively football's governing bodies are fighting over influence. FIFA has issued a statement defending Gianni Infantino and alleging a concerted and ongoing effort by some to undermine FIFA and its president. The wording is direct, even if the statement doesn't name every target in the headline. It also presents Infantino as democratically elected while pushing back against criticism around his leadership. The reported attack is aimed at FIFA and other leading figures in European football. That matters because disputes at this level rarely stay inside a press release. They shape relationships between governing bodies, affect how major competitions are presented, and turn media coverage into part of the argument. There's a familiar football absurdity here. Institutions that control the biggest stage are also busy fighting over who gets to define the story around it. FIFA's position is clear. It believes an effort to undermine Infantino is underway, and the public response has now made that conflict harder to ignore. The institutional row is loud, but the transfer market is louder still. Fabrizio Romano transfer news, Rashford bombshell, Rodri to Barcelona, Arsenal update. This headline groups Marcus Rashford, Rodri, Barcelona, and an Arsenal update under Fabrizio Romano's name. The package confirms the headline exists, but it doesn't supply verified details for the alleged Rashford or Rodri developments. That means the responsible read is to separate the named topics from the certainty implied by the word bombshell. A Football Transfers headline presents Fabrizio Romano transfer news involving a Rashford bombshell, Rodri to Barcelona, and an Arsenal update. Those are major names and an even bigger claim, particularly where Rodri and Barcelona are concerned. But the information supplied here doesn't confirm a deal, a fee, or a formal club position. That's where transfer coverage can become a magic trick. Put a famous player beside a famous club, add the word bombshell, and the reader feels the agreement has already happened. It hasn't been established in the package. A Romano-branded headline can point viewers toward a story, but the details still need attribution and confirmation. So keep the claims in the rumor column. Marcus Rashford and Rodri are recognizable enough to drive attention without a medical, a contract, or a club announcement. Until those concrete steps appear, the headline creates pressure and speculation, while the actual transfer record remains unchanged. The unresolved Manchester United transfer story is still coming. Romano confirms Man United U-turn on transfer, concrete, strong, likely chances. Football 365. Football 365 reports that Fabrizio Romano has confirmed a Manchester United U-turn and described the chances as concrete and strong. The language suggests a change in direction, but the package doesn't identify the player or provide a completed agreement. That gap is the whole story. Manchester United may have shifted position, yet the final consequence depends on who the move concerns and what the clubs actually sign. Football 365 reports a Manchester United U-turn on a transfer, quoting Fabrizio Romano's description of concrete, strong, likely chances. That sounds considerably firmer than a casual rumor, but it still doesn't amount to a completed transfer. The package doesn't name the player, the destination, the fee, or the precise decision Manchester United have reversed. A U-turn can mean a club has reopened talks, changed its stance on a sale, or decided to pursue a move it had previously cooled. Each version carries a different consequence for recruitment, wages, and squad space. Without the player's identity, the headline gives us the mood of the development but not its footballing shape. This is where the market tests everyone's patience. Concrete sounds like paperwork is waiting on a desk, while likely chances still leaves room for the usual late collapse. Manchester United's reported change of direction could matter, but the next confirmed detail decides whether it's a real squad move or another week of transfer theater. And after all that certainty, we finish with a question that refuses to pretend it's news. Who am I? Guess Premier League star No 20. The BBC Sport feature asks viewers to identify Premier League star number 20 in a guessing game. Its appeal comes from memory and deduction, not transfer confirmation or club reporting. That makes it a clean reset after a day crowded with claims, because the challenge tells you exactly what it is. BBC Sports feature asks you to work out the identity of today's Premier League player in as few attempts as possible. The package gives us the format, but it doesn't reveal the answer, so there's no honest way to turn this into a mystery solved on air. That's actually the charm. Transfer headlines often ask viewers to accept a conclusion before the evidence arrives. This feature openly asks you to investigate the clues. You know the rules, you know there's a player to identify, and the fun comes from resisting the first obvious guess. After a confirmed £75 million move, a high-profile friendly, and several transfer claims with missing details, a football puzzle is almost therapeutic. The answer sits behind the clues, not behind a dramatic adjective, and that's a welcome change. Arsenal's midfield has changed with a completed £75 million move, while Manchester United's next decision remains unresolved. Follow the next update for the name behind that U-turn and the evidence behind it.